Greetings, friends, and welcome. I have good news and I have bad news. The good news is that we are very close to the kingdom of God being restored to this earth. The bad news is that we'll have to go through a time of troubles like we have never been through before. And that time of troubles is at our door, knocking. Mark says about that time of troubles,
"Now the brother shall betray the brother to death, and the father the son. And children shall rise up against their parents, and shall cause them to be put to death. And ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved.
And the abomination of desolation will be set up in the temple, where it should not be.
But when ye shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet standing where it ought not, let him that readeth understand. Then let them that be in Judea flee to the mountains. And let him that is on the housetop not go down into the house, neither enter therein to take anything out of his house."
Friends, God never leaves us without an understandable warning. If you want to know what the abomination of desolation, or the abomination that makes desolate is, just go to the historical book of Maccabees. In that book, God describes to us what the abomination that makes desolate, or the abomination of desolation, is. First Maccabee, verse 54, chapter 1. On the 15th day of the month Kislev, in the year 145, the abomination of desolation was set up on the altar of God. In the towns throughout Judea, pagan altars were built. On the 25th day of each month, they offered sacrifices on the pagan altar, which was on top of the altar of whole offering. So the abomination of desolation is an idol altar with idols upon it, set up on God's real altar. Remember, friends, statues of people and images, even crosses, are idols in God's eyes. When the church takes over the ground where the altar of whole offering is located, in Jerusalem, and sets up a great cross image upon it, or puts man-made images of saints upon it, then that will be the abomination of desolation, as it was in the days of the Greek king Antiochus Epiphanes, and that will be our signal to flee for our lives.
"When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place, whoso readeth, let him understand. Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains. Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house, neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. And woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. But pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened." Chapter 42. "Behold my servant whom I uphold, mine elect in whom my soul delighteth. I have put my spirit upon him. He shall bring forth judgment to the Gentiles. He shall not cry, nor lift up, nor cause his voice to be heard in the street. A bruised reed shall he not break, and the smoking flax shall he not quench. He shall bring forth judgment unto truth."
And the elect are the chosen of Israel.
"For Jacob my servant's sake, and Israel mine elect, I have even called thee by thy name. I have surnamed thee, though thou hast not known me."
So when God cut short that time of troubles to save his elect, that would be us. We are God's elect, And we are going to be in that time of troubles.
Then, if any man shall say unto you, Lo, here is Christ, or there, believe it not. For there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible they shall deceive the very elect. Behold, I have told you before. Wherefore, if they shall say unto you, Behold, he is in the desert, go not forth. Behold, he is in the secret chambers, believe it not. For as the lightning cometh out of the east, and shineth even unto the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For wheresoever the carcass is, there will the eagles be gathered together.
And right after the tribulation of those days, the signs will come in the sun and the moon.
Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken.
Then Christ will appear and gather his elect from the four compass points of the earth.
And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other.
So when these things begin to take place, and they are already beginning, great waves have killed thousands without warning. Volcanoes are beginning to sound. The earth is heating up. The sun is going wild with heat. And the reason for every bit of this? The hovering destroyer on our horizon, just out of sight, homing in on us like a burning arrow. And what is this thing coming at us? It is called the destroyer, or doom shape, by those who survived Earth's last encounter with that horror of horrors, a horror so bad that Christ said,
And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles, until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. And there shall be signs in the sun, and in the moon, and in the stars. And upon the earth distress of nations with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring, men's hearts failing them for fear, and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken. And then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh.
And Christ said that it would be as the days of Noah. And how were those days? Those were the days of the destroyer's second to the last visit. Men were not expecting that destroyer, and it came on them at a moment they were unawares. It will be like that when the destroyer again enters the vicinity of the earth and begins to wreck Earth's systems and tear up the face of the earth, causing the oceans to rise and overtake the shore.
For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be.
And what will this destroyer do when it comes? We have found an ancient book that tells us about this up-and-coming event, and we can now gauge our future by our past. This book was written on brass plates and so has survived to our day. One part was written by an Egyptian priest who survived the plagues of Exodus and the destruction that was caused by that God-sent dragon of terror from out of the sky.